Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to P.O.V, Point of View. To my left is,
Jatwasha.
to my right,
Leah.
and I'm John Taylor. Today's topic is, what do men think? JT, in your own opinion, what do men think?
In my own opinion, what do men think? I mean, I really don't know what men think. I think that, in my personal opinion, I believe and I feel that men want the same thing that we want. I think that the problem comes in where, because men for so long have been taught to disregard their emotions, disregard their feelings, that they have kind of lost the aspect of, or not even lost. I know that men have feelings and things, and just like we do, but the way that they express it is different than us. So I feel like when it comes to what men think, they probably think and feel the same way we do. They just have a different way of expressing it. And I think that's where the communication barriers come from, because as women, we're very emotional and we express ourselves in an emotional way, but men are kind of the opposite, where they don't express themselves in an emotional way. So now, like, the communication is kind of blurred, because I'm coming from an emotional place and you're coming from a non-emotional place, even though you are emotional, but you just have been taught to ignore or disregard your emotions. You might be coming from more of a logic place, because that's how men have been programmed or trained. So then you have a clashing. I don't understand her emotions. I don't understand him because he's not showing no emotions. So when it comes to how men think, I think that they think and feel the same way we do and want the same things. It's just the way that they express it.
Wow.
I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
I don't know.
El Boogie, what do you
I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea what they think, how they think. I think it's a completely, from my experience, I'm 38 years old, so I've seen this man, I've seen this man, I've seen this man, and it's all been different. And I would like to understand better how men think, because from my personal experience, I've dealt with a lot of manipulation, cover up, lies. I don't know what's the reality, what's the truth, and you can't go off of cultural norms, because this individual, you'll never know. I have no idea, why you did what you did or why you said what you said. It's unclear to me, so I have no idea.
Wow, that's good. Well, fellas, I'm gonna have to give some of our trade secrets away. I'm holding on to the card, okay? But I'm just trying to inform. To the ladies out there, we don't know what we're doing, half of us. And then the other half, it's a toss-up. With the last week, we spoke about not having that father around. If I saw my mother and father kissing and hugging and being loving and caring, and my father opened the door for my mom and just being nice, just being kind, just being respectful, then he wouldn't have to say a word. It would be me emulating what I see. Think about that. If I could just see it, but I didn't. So therefore, you may have that uncle. I know I did. How many girlfriends you got, son? How many girlfriends you got? Every time I see him, how many girlfriends? And it got to a point where I would lie. I got 5, uncle. Oh, that ain't enough. And so you start believing that. You start feeling that. Mm-hmm. And so when you go to school, you see the pretty girl, and you see another pretty girl, and you see another pretty girl, and I want that, I want that, I want that. And the first one was enough. But because it's been implanted in your head that you have to have multiple women, so you grow up with that mindset. And most of us know we've all had that good woman. We've all had that good moment, and years later, after we're in a relationship that's not going so good, we'll always go back to that one that got away. And every fella knows what I'm talking about. We know that we've let good women get away. So that question, we don't know. We really do. Fellas, we don't know what we really want. We assume, based on what our mothers are telling us, I want somebody smart, who can cook, who can care for her kids, who can raise the kids, because that's what we see our mom doing. She's loving, caring, taking us to church. But the fellas are telling you, get the girl that's easy, get the girl that is the prettiest, that is the wildest. As you're growing up, these are some of the things that most of us, we look for. The little quiet girl, think about this. How many of those quiet girls get asked to the prom? If you think about that, all the girls that got asked to the prom, it was never the girl in the advanced placement classes. You know, the one with the thick glasses, right, with the ponytail. I can see her now. Octavia Baggett. I love you, girl. Octavia Baggett, and that was her real name. But Octavia, to her credit, she got to John Hay and just blossomed. Now everybody wants Octavia Baggett. That's how that usually happens, you know. But when you're growing up, you don't know. It's unfortunate that we don't have enough brothers to teach, even if they weren't in the household. You know, at least if I could have visited my father every other week, that would have given me a little something, you know. So, you know, most of us are learning on our own.
Yeah.
And so to answer the question, we really don't know what we want. Just like you say, we really don't know. Because if we knew, we would have stayed with that first good young lady. The one that we always talk about. Oh man, you know what? I should have stayed with L Boogie, JT. I should have stayed with them, because we know they're good women. But no, we had to go and get, you know, the.
But does that come along with not so much what I want to say, on just to piggyback on that? Is it more so that they don't know? It's not that men don't know what they want, because I think very well they know what they want. But does it have more so to do with maturity, development, just really finding out who they are as a man first? Because you might come across a Leah, a Jay, a Octavia, and if you are not ready, if you have not developed as a man, if you have not found out who you are as a man, if you don't make a certain type of income that you desire, then you probably are going to let those women pass by, because you are not ready to take on that, because you don't even know who you are as a man. Is that maybe something too, or no?
Well, I was going to take it back to what I said and what you said, how you saw your dad doing X, Y, Z. So you have, and even with me, I see my father doing what he's supposed to do, being chivalrous. But then you get Johnny ain't opening doors. He was taught to open the doors. But then my argument with that is, and kind of going off what you said, how if they're not developed, how would they know to do X, Y, and Z? But to me, it's a very thin line between the excuse and you should know better. Where I posed the question of, you know, the indicator is what he does a better indicator of how he thinks? Like the actions speak louder than the words, with the opening the doors and X, Y, and Z. But then, I mean, not to be funny, I think it's like a mental health thing, because you have this adult man that has had experiences or whatnot, and you mean to tell me you can't, in your mind, say, you know what, this is wrong, this is not right, I need help. So why won't you get help, or why won't you try to heal? So it's like, how do you think? Because you clearly know better. And if you don't know better, what's wrong? Something is wrong. So that's why I say I don't know.
Well, a lot of guys, you know, we will we only can get away with what you allow. So if you let me stay out all night and you don't say nothing and you just take me back, I'm gonna do it again. And I'm gonna do it again. And I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna chill, buy you something, and then I'm gonna do it again. And we all know, if we've been in a relationship, you know that scenario, it happens. You know, and we will do whatever you will allow us to do. If you let that man hit you upside your head one time, and you don't call it quits, he's gonna do it again. And then do it again, and then buy you something, and then do it again. I've seen it, I've heard it. So if the woman doesn't allow that, the only reason we buy Corvettes, this is not because we like Corvettes. It's because how many women like Corvettes, you know? We just happy just to have a truck, you know, go off-road, you know, a little four-wheel, you know. So we do things because we think it pleases you, that it's gonna draw you in. So a lot of times, men go for those women who like that kind of stuff, and we go to the bad boys, right? If I'm a good guy, I'll never forget, I went out on a date, I was in my 20s, and, you know, I'm changing my game, I'm gonna be ultra nice. I'm gonna be ultra nice, just going overboard. Found out the next day she didn't call me, she didn't answer my call, and I'm like, wow, what happened? So I found out from another friend, she said, John, he was too boring. He was all nice, and he was nothing like he was in the beginning. Because I was just being me. You know, not that I'm a bad boy or nothing like that, but I was just, you know, I had an edge. You know what I'm saying? I had an edge, but yet you can take me to your mom's house. You know, I always tried to keep that. Those of you who were born in '64 and earlier, you would know Eddie Haskell. Eddie Haskell was a character on Leave It to Beaver. When he was around Leave It to Beaver's mom, he was, hello, Mrs. Cleaver. But when she would leave, hey, when we gonna go to the park? So I was that dude, right? And most of us are, you know, right down just enough edge. But that whole bad boy thing, we think that that's what you all like. Because we see it in high school. All the bad boys, I see it now in the schools, in elementary. All the little girls, they want the little knuckleheads who are cutting class. Y'all run in the hallways. Oh, he's cute. Oh, I like him. And I'm like, well, what about my man? He just got honor roll. What? Well, we don't like him, Mr. Taylor. He corny. So, you know, we don't know. You know, our mom's telling us to be nice guys. You're telling us to be nice guys, but, and here's another example, and I hate to use me as an example, but I'm an open book, those of you who know me. Every time I was a knucklehead or bad boy, or just didn't treat her right, she loved me. She absolutely loved me.
That's the whole aspect too, where we talk about the father wound, because we, like you said, it's like we're chasing after something to validate something. So the more that you pull away, the more we gon'. I'm trying. No, I'm about to get him. I'm about to get him. I'm about to prove something. You might be trying to prove something to yourself, prove something to him, prove something, and that's where we mess up at, trying to prove our worth to somebody that really don't even care.
That's it.
That's much.
It. That is it.
And we putting our energy in the wrong person.
Wow.
That is it. To me, it's a vicious, disgusting cycle.
It is.
Because it's like you damned if you do and you damned if you don't. And like you say, the things that we're going to do, keep doing it if it's allowed. But see, from a lot of women's perspective, we're not seeing it like that, obviously, because if you have a broken man, whatever, and they always say, oh, you're trying to fix it. And I don't think a lot of women necessarily have the idea, I'm trying to fix him or fix whatever it is. I think we have that hope that it'll get better or it'll change. So because you are trying to be kind, understanding, patient person, but all the while it's like, oh no, you stupid because he gonna keep doing it. But it's like you feel like you're doing the right thing by being helpful to this man until you get to they take you to a breaking point, like I just cannot take anymore. Then you leave, but it's like you wrong for doing that.
Well, how come you can't see the light?
But then they want you to do that too, because when you don't stick around and be supportive or understanding for whatever it is, where they ain't had no father, I lost my job, I this, then it's like oh, she left me, she ain't no good, and they run off and go with the other. So it's like,
But I think the main thing that you just said, the point is when you deal with a broken man. And that right there is the issue, where it doesn't matter how much you try to show him, it don't matter how much you continue to, oh, he gonna be, if I just love him a little bit more, if I'm a little bit more, it don't matter, because he a broken man. And I feel like a lot of times when we get into these relationships, we get into the relationship, we meet a man, oh, he seemed cool, he seemed nice, and you know, you don't know he broken until you know he broken. And the moment you find out he is broken, then it is our responsibility to let me back up, let him get himself together. I'm trying to heal. I'm not broken. I'm not in that place. Now we trauma bonding when we do decide to continue to work with, to build or try to, you know, have a relationship with a broken person. That's trauma bonding. I think as women, we do have to take that responsibility. And unfortunately, if we dealing with a man that's broken, he's not mature enough. He's searching for something. He, you know, he needs to heal. Then we have to be the responsible ones in that relationship, situationship, to say, I'm gonna back myself out and allow you to grow a little bit. But I think my perspective from that is, because if we go back to the last episode when we talk about the father wound, if I didn't have a father around to show me what a healthy man looks like, what a grown man looks like, what an unbroken man looks like, then I will have a better opportunity of weeding through the men that we have, to the single men that we have to pick from, and say, okay, this man, he might not be, he not broken, so now I can proceed. So I feel like a lot of it has to do with us, you know, knowing what it looks like to even pick, to a lot. Now I want to say pick, because I do believe that the man picks us, but knowing to say, okay, he is worthy of my time. He is worthy of me getting to know him, as opposed to saying, oh, you know, I feel bad, because that used to be me. Oh, he just needs somebody. Like, I needed somebody, so he need me, so I'm going to be there. And you allow, you know, because of your empathy, because of your, you know, nurturing woman that you are, you allow so much stuff to go. And then look, 10 months down the road, you know, 3 months down the road, you in this situation you can't pull yourself from, and you had a soul tie, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Wow. You said, excuse me, JT said something that it just clicked. We don't pick the women. We don't.
You don't?
We don't. If every guy, and I'm talking to the fellas, right? Because that's what we're trying to help.
No, you're trying to help us.
well, I mean, yeah, that's true. That is true. I'm sorry. If when you think about it, every guy that wanted the girl that he's with, he didn't pick her. She picked him. Because every guy, he when he sees something that he may want,
we have to
that
say it's
one,
okay.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
So now I'm settling. You know, and most of us do that.
Because
because the one that he picks, she may not be interested. But now he has to go to option 2.
But he's still like, okay, so we talk about like when we're dating, you out with your girls, you out with your boys, you might see a young lady that you are attracted to, like, oh, I like her, I like her style, whatever the case may be. It's not us saying, oh, I like his style, I'm gonna go over there and say something. It will have to be you as the man saying, okay, I like that, I might want to get to know that, let me go over there. Then it's us saying, it's okay, yes, I will talk to you, yes, you can have my number. It's an exchange. But I feel like at the end of the day, just the same way, like, I want this, like, you date, you know, down the road, you want to propose to this woman, the reason, and that's why I say the man chooses. We say, yes, we want to be accepted, but I feel like the man chooses because this woman is going to carry his legacy, not the other way around.
Well, that's true, but when you break it down, that option, I've been looking at her for 2 weeks now. She's not giving me the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's that type of thing. I could be good for her, but she's not interested. So now we go and we get someone who's on me. Oh, so-and-so likes, oh, really? Most guys, we're like, okay. And they're kind of growing.
Really?
Yeah.
This is what men think.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
right.
This is, and again, fellas, we're just trying to educate. I'm just giving you some scenarios that I know personally with some of my friends and even with me. That first option, she's not digging me. But we go maybe the third option. Oh, do you know Pam? Pam says you're cute. Oh, really? Pam, let me see. Oh, okay. She's not L Dog. You see what I'm saying? She's not L Boogie. You know what I mean? So it's, we take what likes us. That's what most of the guys, we take what likes us.
Oh my God.
When you think about it, the guy, if you like a guy, you can come up to me and I'm like, every guy's gonna be like, yeah. Unless you're just not his type. Other than that, if you go up to any guy and approach him, he's gonna be on. It's on. But if any guy comes up to you, and then he walks away. And then there's an option. He doesn't like her. She doesn't like him. Then he goes to that third option.
I could see that. I could see I could see that, but
because think about it. Where are you going to meet him? Either out, somebody introduces you, right? So if you're out at a club, you can pick and choose. Oh, right there. You go over, ask her to dance. She may say no, and that's it. Man, I really wanted to dance with her. I really wanted to meet her. But that will never happen because she's not interested. So now I go to my second option. Okay, no, I go to my third. And there it is.
Okay, and
that's real.
And this is why, to me, it's extremely disturbing.
Ooh.
And I am an alien, and I am a counterculturalist because I don't believe in any of that. I think that it is both parties' responsibility to do the right thing. And to me, it's like, if you, first I'm going to say, shout out to R.C. Blake's. He said the man chooses, the woman approves. That's his,
okay, agreed. That's basically what we're saying. I do believe that's what we're saying.
Approves.
Yeah.
But then, how men think, you're saying that, okay, if I don't get option A, I'm going to go to option B.
If she didn't approve, then he has to go.
He has no
other option.
Right. If she doesn't approve, if your first choice don't like
approve,
you, it's like, okay, I'm going to the next, I'm going to this one. But it's kind of, to me, it's messed up to me because, like you said, you feel like you have to settle versus saying, you know what, and that's why I take it back to mental health. I'm just joking. No, I'm not. But why can't you, as the man, be like, you know what, I'm not going to, I don't really like her. I don't really like I don't really like option B. I really don't like option C. Let me leave them alone. Because to her, she probably do like you a little bit, but in your mind, it's like, I really don't like her, but if she give me a little bit, I'm going to just take it. That's not right.
So what is
it's not being transparent.
But see, men, we have to
get the person who like you for real, and that you like them.
He won't know that until he see. Because I feel like if he look at option B, he just not saying, okay, who next in line? No, he looking like, okay, I did like her. Yeah. Let me see who else scanning the room I might like. Okay, I find her attractive too. Yeah. I feel like it's the same.
It's said like that though. Huh? He didn't word like that. To me. It wasn't worded like that to me. It was like, okay, I don't think. Okay, let me see what else.
That's basically what it is.
It is men in the club. It is men in the bar that do that. Like whoever look the hot messes, that's who they going after. And if this hot mess ain't, I do believe that men do that in the bar in certain settings. But I don't feel, in my opinion, I don't feel like all men do that across the board. It's just, I do feel like some men be like, oh, she ain't, the next one will. I do believe some men think like that, but I don't believe that majority of men think like that. Like you said, like, oh, I really did like A, but B just as fine, and she approved it.
Well, the guys who don't do that are the ones who get the first
Okay.
You get that one that
Okay.
they want first, and
Okay.
she likes him,
Mhm.
and so he never has to do that.
Right.
But for that 75% of us,
75?
oh yeah,
Probably 95.
yeah,
75% of you men think that y'all have to.
we have to
Really?
if you,
That's
I'm
high.
telling you, you know.
That y'all feel like y'all
when
have
we
to
see
go.
something that we truly
Okay.
likes,
Mhm.
it don't have to just be the physical. It could be the mental,
Yeah,
the way she walks.
attraction.
It's
Any
something
type of
about her.
attraction.
Something about her, and he goes up, and she's. It's like, wow, okay, yeah. You know, it's that bad, baby. You know, and then you walk away and you settle, and that's just how it is.
I don't like how
most
you
men,
use the word settle though. It's
I mean,
almost
it's
kinda like,
not well because it's the first option we're not getting. That's all. We're not getting that first option. So what else are we gonna do? You know, you can't sugarcoat it. It's like I wanted this, but I'll settle for that
I don't like the word settle.
because she finds me.
Because you don't have
attractive.
to settle for the next option. You can go about your day, and then tomorrow you can find your option A again, a different option A.
But again, it goes
Okay.
back to that option A. That option A may not want you know what I'm saying? But let's just say, give me somebody, Erykah Badu.
We can do it.
Erykah Badu.
Okay.
You know, you look at Erykah Badu and like, man, I want that Erykah Badu. But Erykah Badu's not on me.
She's not available.
You know?
She did not approve.
I'm not metaphysical enough for Erykah Badu.
Okay.
I'm not cosmic enough for Erykah
Okay.
Badu, right?
Okay.
But I want that Erykah Badu. So what do? I have to settle
Right.
for Mariah Carey type. You know?
I just don't like the word settle. I don't like that word for this. Because to me, it makes it. I understand what you're saying. Like, if I can't get this one, then my next choice will have to be this.
Yeah.
Instead of and maybe just not saying, oh well, because to me, when you say settle, it give it a negative thing.
Like it's
okay,
less than.
yeah, like she's exactly.
Like it's less
The
than.
settle, the word settle makes it seem like.
But
she's
in his
less
eyes,
than.
it is.
It can't be.
In his eyes,
It can't be.
because he wanted that first one.
It can't be.
So that first one that third one is not going to be what he really wants. You understand? You really have to understand this dynamic. And I took a poll all this week, right, for the last 4 days.
Okay.
With it was about, let's say 20 or 25 guys. Half were married, single, half were just out there. Let's say 1/3.
Okay.
And the majority of them said, and I'll say just be candid. I'm not saying no names. Are you with the one you really wanted to be?
Out of how many you? Okay,
All
let's
of
talk
them.
about married
all
men.
of them, all the married men.
All the married
They
men,
said no.
they said that
They said no.
all of them said
Every
that they
last
are
one.
not with the ones that they
Every last one.
wanted.
Every last one. There was one. He met his girl in college, and you know, once he got out and he started working, and then he had met some people at work, and that person was what he really wanted, but he had already kind of committed to the college sweetheart. He married his college sweetheart.
So he was trying to be
He
a
married his-
stand-up guy.
You could be stand-up, but it's the first option. You
But I
see
mean,
what I'm
so
saying? This is what he really wanted, but he settled. He settled. You know what I mean? It's hard to hear, but but women, it's all in your hands. You know, you can get what you want. You can get what you want, but the guys, if what we really want, no. And even when I asked the fellas, I even asked the so-called playboys.
Okay.
And the playboys say, look, man, it's a numbers game.
I heard that.
It's a numbers game. And I used to play that numbers game back in the day. Even when I went to the club, I said I had no ego. I learned that from Teddy Pendergrass. I had no ego. I was the dude, and everybody seen me. That table of 10 ladies, I would ask each lady. And I know you were gonna turn me down because your girl turned me down. And I know she was gonna turn me down because the two of y'all turned me down. But I didn't let that stop me. And then I would go to the next, the lady in the red, right, you wanna dance? No, okay, could you tap her next to you? No? Right there. Come on. And so there was 9 women. And I'm on the dance floor, and the fellas was like, bro, aren't you embarrassed? I'm like, no, I have no ego. I'm not tripping. I don't know that. I don't know none of y'all. I don't know what's the reason. You may not like me. You may not like me. But that lady there, I'm on the dance floor with her. So it's a numbers game.
So
You know?
basically, the person that you with or end up with may not really like you.
The one that you, no, the one that,
That's what I'm getting from this.
no, what I'm saying is the one you really want,
Mm.
the one, most of the guys, the ones we really want, we never get the ones that we really want. Because they don't want us. So we tend to settle.
And
And
I'm saying
that's-
based off your poll that you took.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
So, I mean,
most of the
it's
guys,
wrong.
they don't, their first option, most of them don't get. You know, that's just how it is, you just don't get. Do you like me, yes or no? Check the box, you know? And, you know, it's no, it's like, okay. And then you go for the next girl. You know, we've all played it, and it's what it is, it's unfortunate. But that's what I was saying, most of y'all women, you can pick what you want. If a guy comes up to you, you can pick that guy can be yours. But most of us, we see it, no, okay. Well, that third option, she's digging me. You settle.
And let's talk.
And
Well,
that's
go ahead,
unfortunate,
Go ahead.
though,
What would you about?
when
Because
you
I want to
think
dig
about that.
deeper on
I
that.
was gonna say, in my mind, it's like, when did this idea, this mindset occur, or has it always really been like this since the beginning of time?
Oh, yeah.
Has it
Yeah.
always been like this, or was it some type of shift in the atmosphere where everything went upside down because you said like, we can go and pick who we want, but we know naturally the man is supposed to chase. We don't go
I mean, we
up to
chase.
men and approach. You know, it's supposed to be the other way around.
No,
You're
I'm not saying that you approach us, I'm saying when we approach you,
We approve.
and
we
then you
approve.
turn us down.
If we don't,
And then if
approve,
you don't
we
approve,
on
then
to the-
I'm not into, so my first option was you. You see what I'm
And what
saying?
I'm-
So you turned, you didn't approve of me, so now I have to go to someone who is
Is
not like
approving.
you.
Who
Right,
is
and I
approving.
get what you're saying,
You
but my
see-
thing is, as the woman, am I B, am I C, am I A? How am I gonna let them know?
Is it important to know?
I think so.
Okay.
Like you said in last week, it's like you want somebody to want me, same as I want you.
Yeah, but
know,
I don't
and
think
when
as long as he wants you just like you want him, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if I'm 1, 2, 3, or
Yeah.
4 or 5. As long as he
Mhm.
want me like I want him,
Right.
and his actions are lining up with what he say he gonna do or how he feel about me. I don't, because at the end of the day, at this point in our life, we can't be your one-on-one. I gotta be hopefully your last. And that's all, like, at this point, that's just all it can be. I can't be your first, I can't be your second, I can't be your third. I hope that I'm your last. Not to say that I hope that I'm just the bottom of the barrel, the one you, heck no. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm more so saying, you know, at the end of the day, it's not really important where I fall at, as long as you are feeling me just the way I'm feeling you. And you're putting that same amount of time in too. But no, I don't want you to feel like, well, I really wanted her, but I settled for you. I feel like that's two different, in my opinion, I feel like that's two different, saying two different things.
Mm-hmm. Because most guys, when you look at it, most guys, they know that first option, if she said no, so everything else is, not saying that it's a big drop off or whatever,
Yeah.
but if he picks, you know, JT's not on it. I gotta go with Cassandra. You know, Cassandra's a nice girl, but she's not what I wanted. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's probably why the relationships don't go as well, because that first option, I don't have.
Well, then if you saying that, then that changed the game up. Because if you're saying the reason the relationship isn't going the way it's really going is because I didn't get my first option, then you really shouldn't have went to your second option. Because if you feel like, if your number one option is who you really want, but then you settled for two, I mean, I'm with number 2, she cool or whatever, it's just not going the way it's gonna go, because I really don't want to be with her, but she nice. I mean, I feel like I should, because she nice, she a good person, it ain't no reason for me not to like her. But if you feel like the relationship can't be 100% authentic and what 100% of what you want and need, then you shouldn't be with 2. You should maybe wait till 4, 5, or 6, and 4, 5, or 6 might actually be a better option than number 1 too. Because think about when I think about men, y'all lead a lot with visual. So you might have wanted to go with 1 just because she looked at like Janet Jackson or Sade. You went with number 1 because you saw her visually. But if you waited for maybe 4, 5, 6, she might have been Sade, and she might have had some Erykah Badu in it, and she might have had some, somebody else, some Martha Stewart up in there. So you wanted 1 ideally, but you went ahead and went for 2 when you really probably should have waited for 5.
But see, that whole waiting thing.
And okay, so let's dig deeper, because then when you said, this is what you said. Hold on, I done lost my train of thought. So what you said was, when you decide to go from, okay, you wanted 1, and you couldn't, 1 didn't approve, so you went to either 2, 3, 4, or 5. Because it's a numbers game, is it quicker for y'all as men to go to the next instead of really sitting down, learning how to communicate with your girl, sitting down, really being in the relationship and learning each other? Is it easier for y'all to leave the relationship as opposed to working in it, putting in the work, putting in the time, putting in the emotions, putting in the development, putting in the growth, because you know it's a numbers game and you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that might be in the back. I ain't got to put this much work into this relationship because I got number 4, number 8, and 16 waiting for me. Is that a real thing?
No, it's a real thing. I'll never forget, I was in D.C., Million Man March, and it was over 1 million brothers in D.C., and I remember being at the Foxtrot nightclub, and every brother was on the dance floor, and I'd never seen this in my life. Women were lying, standing up like how fellas do. And I said, wow, it's a lot of women in here. She said, that's D.C. It's 10 to 1. She said, we share our men in D.C. And I'm like, really? She said, I'm sharing my man now. And she was beautiful. I'm like, what? So we know it's a numbers game. We know how many brothers are in jail, how many are dead, So every time another brother dies or goes to jail, you think about a single men who are out here. It's another 2 or 3 women for us. And it's unfortunate those numbers exist, but it's a numbers game. And that's just the bottom line. So if number 1 doesn't, 2, 3, so we can tend to settle. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality. That's the reality out here, sisters. It really is. And think about it. So when you say no to that good brother, now that good brother has to deal with something that he really doesn't want.
The words coming to my mind right now is greed and selfishness, because if it is this numbers game, and you know that there are way more women than men versus men making the right decision and say, you know what, I like her, I'm gonna stick her, I'm gonna do right by her, I'm gonna work on my issues or this. It's like, well, I got like 16 other options, so she getting on my nerve from both here. It's wrong.
Because in the first place, he's not with someone he really wants to be with.
So how do we,
so again, fellas, again, I hate to give away our trade secrets, but we're just trying to educate. But that's what it is.
It's like, if it's like that, that's the way it is. And if this is how men think, how can we win? How do we overcome this? How do we stop that? Because it's not successful. It's not helping. Like this is a generational problem if this continues.
Well, I think it's your ideology. You're thinking that the bad boys are in. I met so many women that sit in my chair and they talk about, yeah, I was into bad boy. I had that bad boy era. We all have. I'm like, you like bad boy? I'm thinking you're such a nice, educated sister, got it all together. Even you were into bad boys? And I'm saying, man, so the so-called nerds were just regular brothers. We didn't have a chance. So now we get to an age where, oh yeah, when we see them at the reunion, 10 years later, be like, oh, that's so-and-so. Now, that so-called nerd, he's got it together, right? I ain't known that. I ain't looking for that so-called popular girl. So now that option, the guy that has his act together, he goes and gets with what he wants, and what he wants likes him, and boom. So you'll never see them. You'll take them out the equation. Remember I said it was 1/3. Those guys are already taken, because they, got it together, saw what was happening, they got their girl, they're married. And they'll be married for 30, 40, 50, or to death. Because I have a few cats that's like that. But a lot of us who just tried to get with the fast girls, just like the women trying to get with the fast and bad boys, we fall into that too. So it's just the opposite. So when we get the L Boogies and the JTs of the world, these are some good sisters. When we see you, and now we're not ready. We're not ready for you. Guys are intimidated by y'all.
So I need to go to the retirement home.
No, what it is, like I told you before, if there's no diamonds in your Cartiers, then switch your frames. If there's no manicure stone board, then switch your plane. So wherever your circle is, whatever you've been doing and haven't been meeting that guy is there. I'm telling you, the guy is sitting right over there, somewhere right now. He's at Black Panther with his nieces and nephews. You see what I'm saying? Because he has no children. Okay. He's about 43, and he's like, damn, how come I can't find a good woman? You know what I'm saying? How come I can't find a good woman? You see? So you just have to switch up what you've been doing. I'm telling you, just switch it up. He's there. He might not even be in this city. He might not be in this city. There's a dude in Pensacola, Florida. If he was to see both of y'all, he'd be like, those are my ones right there. I mean, that's just the real deal. You just have to change it up.
But would I be his number 6? What, number 18?
No, y'all first choices.
Right. I need to be his number 1.
With the fellas that are in here, do we agree that they're number 1s, right?
Absolutely.
We agree that they're number 1s. And that's just the bottom line.
That's how they think. How men think. That's the topic.
But that's what it is. That's how men think, Because we don't get it. Y'all pick us.
Right.
Even though we supposed to pick a man that finds a good thing, finds a wife, finds a good thing, right? Is that the quote?
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Right? But they didn't say, but she's got to approve of you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't caveman.
That should be the next.
JT, come on, JT,
Right.
you mine. It just can't do that.
Right.
L Boogie, you just can't do that. If
You
that's
have to
the
be
case.
transparent too, though. You have to be transparent.
You have to be transparent as
I
far
think
as
so
what.
when you are meeting somebody, when you want to talk to somebody interested, don't try to hide certain things, because that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We say how, you stick with this bad guy or this broken man or whatever, because we initially you don't know that. If off the cuff, you might make a different choice. But it's like, if you're not keeping it real with me, because you're not keeping it real yourself, obviously. If you're not keeping it real with me, 2 weeks in, 2 months in, a year in, and then I start to see the stuff, yes, of course, we need to go. You got to go. But I'm like, oh, wait, this is not who I thought I was dealing with. Like, you're not keeping it real with me.
I mean, yes, I guess it depends on what it is. Like give an example. Like what you were just saying. Give an example of him. You need to keep it real in that respect of how you just explained it.
I don't know, like if I don't meet somebody in a bar or wherever you are, and they appear to be, have their stuff together. Maybe have a car, just really nice. Maybe buying you drinks or whatever. Maybe 6 months down the road, I don't know, maybe not that long. You thinking, oh, he kind of got together. He seemed kind of stable, but then you find out like, oh, that's not his car.
Okay.
He was using some standard card. Or, like a facade, like I'm trying to putting on, and it's just like, well, why wouldn't you just say? And I don't know, different circumstances.
Yeah,
maybe he lost his job, or maybe
he
never had. I don't know, but don't automatically think. And I'm gonna use an example like the pastor say. He said, a lot of people like, he on the bus. I ain't dating no man on no bus. But it's just like, it's not about he's on the bus. Ask, why are you on the bus?
Right.
Because I had a whole car and I was catching the bus to work every day. But it's like, ask me why. It's because the parking was, expensive. And it's cheap for me to ride the bus down the street. So it's just like, ask why, but be transparent when somebody's asking you questions. Or just off the cuff. Be real.
That's good. I always say, I tell women and men, because I'm like a psychiatrist. Because I do hair, right? When you're meeting someone, every time you communicate with that person, ask 2 questions. One censored and one uncensored. All right? The uncensored one, all bets are off. All bets are off. Your question, all bets are off, and his or her reply, that bet is off. So they can answer it, so there's no judgment,
rebuttal.
There's no prejudging and none of that. It's just, you want to know this question. You want to know this. And then you just, every day you make sure you have those 2 questions to ask. And that way it expedites, the process. So now you're not wasting your time 2-3 weeks later. You know what? I just found out he's got 8 kids, but he never brought it up. He said he had kids, but you assumed maybe 2, but you didn't know it was 8. You know what I'm saying? You ain't know and 2 of them born the same year. You know what I'm saying? I'm just ask those tough questions, and that's it.
And it's like, to me, I get what you're saying, but if somebody asks me, like, do you have kids? And it's like, yes. And it's like, don't go into detail. I'm going to hide that from you if I have 12 kids versus saying, yeah, I have 12 children. Yeah. Why can't you say I have 12 children?
Because people will take, and that's why I think a lot of times people, when we talk about vulnerability, remember I was looking up the word vulnerability and I was like, you are subject to literally be hurt. You could be subject to literally be torn apart and broken, being vulnerable. And you should be transparent and be vulnerable, but people will take things that they learn about you, whether you're speaking your truth or not, and use it against you too. Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm dating anybody with 10 kids. I mean, if he had 10 kids with his wife and his wife passed away, then okay, that's different.
Ask why,
but ask why. But people are afraid of being vulnerable because they know that once they're vulnerable, you have the opportunity to judge them. You have the opportunity to use it against them in the future. Yeah, that's fair if a dude got 8 kids and hey, yeah, I got 8 kids, and I'm looking at him like, ooh, how many baby mamas? Man, I got 7 baby mamas. In my head, the honest to God truth is I am judging you. And now he is vulnerable to say she have the right to not deal with me if I got 8 kids with 7 baby mamas. But he could be my soulmate. But because I am, I could be his soulmate. But because I am using that as, okay, I don't want to deal with him you know what I'm saying?
Well, no, that's
I could be gone, but I understand why people use certain information to not share in the beginning because it could scare somebody off.
But at the same time, it's like, give me the information, be transparent, because then I can make the decision if I want to continue or not. Because he might have 7 kids, 7 different baby mamas, but he got a good relationship with all the mamas. He take care of all the kids. We don't know, but it's like, I'm going to have this from you.
I agree.
And I'll let you know.
I agree.
Until 6 months.
But I understand it.
How?
But it's like, I understand it. Because like people will take stuff and even if you just, it could be the basic stuff. Yeah, my ex-girlfriend left me. You know what I'm saying? That first thing in my head, why she leave you? If you a good man, you ain't leaving no good man. So in my head,
like
what you do? And so now I'm already placing the judgment. Him just being honest about it. Yeah, my ex-girlfriend left me. It's like subconsciously you're making a judgment because a good woman is not necessarily going to leave another good man. So it's like, would you cheat? In your head, you're making up all these scenarios, and now just that small piece of information that I use, I'm holding it against you for the whole relationship. And it's not saying that, this is just human nature. This is just human nature, what people do. It's not saying you're doing it. I mean, that is communicating.
Not communicating.
But you have to approach each relationship with a clean slate. So
That's
if
fine.
you continue to do that, then we'll be back at square
But
one.
I'm saying that is a clean slate. Our clean slate is your ex-girlfriend left you, and our clean slate is all, like, what did she do to leave you? I mean, that is a clean slate.
Well, and then he could tell you.
But
Then he could tell you it just didn't work. Maybe it just didn't work. And then now it's on you.
Yeah.
To where you're gonna deal with me or
Yeah.
not, you know.
Yeah. But I just wanted to use that as an example. People would use your truth against you. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I always think the truth will never hurt. As long as you're telling the truth. Think about this. If every relationship the two of you, the three of us, the five of us have ever been in, if we were 100% honest, 100%. I'm not talking on little white lies. I'm talking 100% honest, both of you. I think we would all still be with that person. There was something that you didn't do, didn't say, that wasn't totally honest, or have truths, or you didn't inform. You know, they found out years later, 6 months. You're just not telling me this. I didn't know. You're just not telling. You know, and that's a deal breaker. See, that may have been the deal breaker 6 months earlier. You see what I'm saying? You have a deal breaker, and if I don't tell you, and I'll tell you later, and you're like, John, you didn't tell me that you did blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, and the reason being, I had a young lady, and I swear I would have married her. She had everything that I really wanted, but guess what? She didn't believe in our Lord and Savior. She was an atheist, straight up atheist. As a matter of fact, we were all saying grace. And I looked down and looked up, and she was doing this. And I said, well, what's the issue? How do you know I bless my food like that? I said, you're at my mother's house. We're saying grace. You can't show, well, I don't believe in your God. And so I had to make a decision.
How long ago was that into the relationship, though? How long? I mean,
it was.
For you to feel like she was.
Well, you know what? I thought I did one of your numbers.
One of my numbers.
One of the sister numbers. When you deal with it, I thought maybe if she's around me, you know, around my family, she's gonna come on over. I'm praying for this lady because I was like, that's my wife. Now this was one of the times where I saw it and was like, and we were like, boom, that's it. But she didn't believe.
How long did y'all date?
Wow.
That's important.
Hold on, I'm trying to think. It was short because I was thinking like, Lord, I know you're not happy. I'm trying to think, maybe 3-4 months, maybe.
And you knew she was the one?
Yeah.
That's deep.
I know.
This is how men think. That's
But
deep.
you know what? And I'll tell you why. Because think about it.
I'm saying, like, if you in 3 months you knew she was the one.
No, I knew she was the one when I first met her.
But because she didn't believe in God, you didn't want to wait 3. Like she might be a preacher standing on somebody's pulpit today, but after 3 months you said, "Nah, I can't roll with it."
After she said that at my mom's crib.
But I'm saying, like, you didn't even give it time because you knew you had 7, 13, and 12 waiting in the back. That's why. Even if you knew that she was the one, but shoot, I got 13 over here. I got 22 waiting for me right here. She don't believe in God. I can let her roll. See, there we go. Back again.
You know what?
I'm saying. I'm
looking at that's a big one.
I'm looking at JT. Okay, JT. Okay, so I'm trying to. I'm looking at the scenario. I'm looking at the scenarios, all the scenarios, because it was more than that. You know, like I remember we were watching something, and you know how you talk about God, you know, it was something, Jesus, or something we just talked. And she's like, why are you talking to me about that? And I'm like, whoa.
Why were you talking to her about that?
Because I'm thinking, you know, there's got to be some love. You know, it's got to be a little bit of belief.
How old were you?
$43.
Oh, you was kind of old.
Yeah, 43.
That's a deal breaker.
43.
That's spiritual. That's
43.
And the reason I say this,
see, 43,
is because,
and that's what I'm saying. I thought that was, I'm like, that's the one right there.
But here's the thing.
But she didn't believe.
My thing is, regardless if she didn't believe right here, right now, it does not mean that later down the road she wouldn't have a come to Jesus. Later down the road, she didn't see how you lived your life. Hey, I might want to turn my life over to God. At that, like, how many people you see on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube that were atheists and they had a come to Jesus moment and now they're Christians? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I get it. It's a spiritual thing. I get it. But I really felt like you gave up too soon. That's all.
I don't
Well,
think so.
who's the leader? Who's the leader?
You the
And we
leader.
have to be evenly yoked.
Yes.
So we were definitely unevenly yoked, right?
Yes.
So now all
At
the
3
things,
months.
yeah. I mean, I thought that was too long. It might have been
3 months.
2 months too long, really.
I mean,
No,
It
but
was-
because if it's meant
It's
to
a
be, it's going to be.
conversation.
If it's
Because
meant
think
to be,
about
it's
the
going to be.
conversations. Think about the conversation. You can't talk about God.
Right.
Think about that, Joe.
but here's
That's
my
important.
thing.
Think about that. That is totally
in 3
eliminated.
months. In 3 months.
3 months of
And
conversation.
you 43.
Yeah.
It ain't like you 30, 25, and you learn how to have mature conversations with
Mhm.
another individual. I can understand this happening at 25, 30 because you still learning how to communicate with people properly in a healthy way. But you 43.
But she's
To
setting her
have
ways.
you setting your
No,
ways
she's
too.
setting her
you
ways.
setting your
'Cause
ways
she don't
too.
believe.
You setting your ways too
Oh,
at
yes,
43.
I'm a believer.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I'm saying regardless, we not talking about. I'm not saying like you shouldn't sway from your religion. I'm saying when you stuck in your ways, you're stubborn just like she's stubborn. We're not talking about religion. You stubborn and how you think you stubborn. You're stubborn and she's stubborn at 43. Now, if this would have happened at 25, 30, I feel like it was like I said, you felt like you had options at 43. At this point, I don't have to settle for nobody that's not a believer.
Mhm.
That's how you basically looked at it.
Mm-mm. No,
I didn't went this long with being single and then
No, I mean, the option, being flexible was even dealing with her. Once I found out that she didn't believe, because I should have ended it right then.
okay.
You see, me,
Okay,
that was
okay.
me being flexible.
Okay.
But let me see, let me
Okay.
slow it down. Let's see.
Did you think that you could change her?
No, it wasn't about me changing. All I had to do was introduce her to my beliefs, and then because you can't change
In 3
anyone.
months?
No, I'm just introducing her. Yeah, because I'm thinking maybe she don't know. Maybe
Right,
some way she has
right.
never been introduced.
Right.
So I offered her to come visit my church, and she was like, "No, I'm an atheist." And I'm like, "Really? You really don't believe?" And she was like, "No." I'm like, "You playing, right?"
So my question is, why did you like her? Why did you think she was the one?
The aura,
She it can't be her aura. She
No,
believe
I'm
in
saying,
God. She
no,
didn't
no,
believe-
no,
she
but
didn't
see, no, that hasn't, no. That's
Okay, but you was about to say it that don't have nothing to do with the character of a person.
Well, yeah, remember I said the
Right.
character, but with her, when I saw her, the look, the vibe, the aura, even the way she spoke, everything was perfect for me.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, that's it.
Okay.
That is it. And then once because we spoke on the phone, conversation, it never was a dry spot in the conversation. It was never quiet. We went from here to there to Europe to foods we like, how to prepare them, all kinds. She was a vegan, and it was just a whole different kind of energy. She was different. And I'm like, this is it. But she didn't believe. And I knew as a Christian, no. But I held in there.
For 3 months.
That's a long time. Think about
Is
it.
that a long time?
Okay, let's flip it.
Is that a
If
long
you
time?
knew a guy that was an alcoholic and abusive, and you hung in there for another 3 months, you see what I'm saying? See how long?
Abusive, that's my life. Like,
What I'm
that's
saying-
my life.
Well,
so,
I-
you can't use that
Well,
as
that
an
was
example.
well, no. I mean, because
That's my life. If
because
you're abusive,
I mean, but
can't.
think about this.
Okay.
I'm with someone who doesn't believe, and it was a constant. Wow, I can't even talk about my Lord and Savior. I didn't even. I would
Okay.
go to church and wouldn't even. I don't even think I talked to her on Sundays.
I can see that part because I feel like anytime you have to have a part of yourself in order to appease your partner, then you absolutely are in the wrong relationship.
There you go.
I do agree with that.
There you go. And that was it.
On the flip side, I don't feel like you gave. If you saying all this stuff about her air or and all this stuff, and you know what I'm saying, I don't know. She I hope she ain't in somebody's pulpit right now. You know what I'm saying, and the first lady at Christ Church of the Tabernacle right now.
Well, I mean, she was in her 40s. I think she was a year younger than me or older than me, but she. If she is, God bless her. But
like
at that
time,
y'all
don't get y'all number ones then. Okay.
That was my number one.
That's it.
That was my number one. But I had the number one, but I had to, make a decision. Am I going to be with the woman who doesn't believe in our Lord and Savior? And that was, I'm not going to risk my salvation to deal with.
I mean, you're not.
That's just
you have to live your life. You can't mess up nobody else's salvation but your own salvation.
There and I wasn't going to have it. And the thing when she did at my mom's, not bowing her head,
I do feel like that was disrespectful.
And
right.
she said, that's your God.
I would have just been bowing my head just for the sake of keeping the peace. Like, I could have been singing a song in my head just to be keeping the peace, but
She said, that's your God.
Yeah, that was disrespectful.
And that blew me away.
That was disrespectful.
Think about it. That's your God.
That could be very, very detrimental.
Yeah.
And if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah, I hope she got it together, but, shouts out.
She knows who she is. Well, I guess that's gonna wrap. Anybody got any final thoughts for how men?
Okay, so what did we learn today, JT? What did we learn today?
Shoot, what did I learn? We had a great conversation. I'm trying to think. I did not know that men, the way I processed it, that men face the same type of rejection that we face. So if a man sees something he wants and then we don't approve, that's some level of rejection, even though he's still going to go to the next because it's a numbers thing, but I guess that's what I learned is that us women, we are the approvers. Like in any situation.
There it is.
Any situation.
You hear that, ladies?
Good information.
All right.
We got the power. That's a confirmation, right?
All right. El Boogie, what you learned, El Boogie? I know El Boogie. I can't wait to hear this.
The topic, how do men think? Today, out of this conversation, it was very disturbing to me.
Ooh.
And I just feel that as long as men are out of their role, this chaos is going to continue.
Wow.
What was the most disturbing part for you?
Just the manipulation, the numbers game, all that, the lack of transparency, the lack of communication. It's not ever going to be a balance if that's the way that it's going to continue on, or it has been. It's just not right to me.
Yeah. Well, it's not right for that skinny little kid who's a little nerd who doesn't play sports, but he has intellect. And at that point, as he's growing up, the young ladies aren't looking at him. I'm telling you that your day will come. Just hold on, and the young ladies will mature, and that whole bad boy thing, they'll get over that, and then you'll be the one. So that's what I took from it. You all choose. You choose us. Even though we're supposed to.
Approve.
I mean, yeah, you approve, but if you see a guy and you want to walk up to him and ask him to dance, he's not turning you down. Believe me, he's not.
And what if they do, though? What does that mean, though?
No,
because
if they turn you down?
Yeah.
Well, it's two things.
Okay.
One is stupid, or they you may not be his type. And I mean on the strength of, your gender may not be what he's looking for, and you got to throw that in there too.
But remember last week we talked about these not the same type of men like back in your day, so that's a whole nother thing.
Do you think that makes a difference, the generations, in the way that they think or the way that they see stuff?
Now I feel bad for my 20-year-old sons and nephews because I'm looking at what they have to pick from, these 20-year-olds and some of these 30-year-olds.
You said your son and your nephew, so you're referring to the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-old women, okay?
Well, I mean, I've seen a lady on Facebook, she gets up there on TikTok and I'm saying, man, look what they got to deal with. You know, it's not much. It's unfortunate that the women feel they got to act that way and be that way, and it's unfortunate.
So you seeing from a different POV now, because you see that, like you said, you feel bad for your nephews and your sons that the for whatever reason the young women are acting a certain type of way, and it's only because of the repercussions or the consequences, or just because of the way things have been. The roles kind of have been flipped. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of, it's the trauma that the roles have been flipped. So now you have women that are more aggressive, and you have the men who are more, I don't want to say submissive, but you have the men are more laid back.
Impact and
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Back in our day, men were men and women were women, and they understood the role, and there it is. It wasn't always easy, it wasn't always nice, but at least a woman, like your father, he was a man, he was a man, so.
At this point, I'm probably gonna marry a robot.
No, he's out there. I told you, just change where you're going. And again, remember I told you, you may have to go up. You may have to go up
You
a
heard me
decade.
say the nursing home.
No, you may have to go up another 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
Yeah, you may have to, because there's a lot of sharp older men out there, a lot of them, serious, so that may be an option. Because I know I can't see with a 20 or 30-year-old, the way they are, I can't see with it. There's no way. And there's no way with the mindset.
We gotta settle. That's not settling.
No, you don't have to settle. You just
because
go
that's
up.
not what I desire. So, but because that's what's there, that's like settling to me.
Yeah, well, you may have to. Because I told you, we all settle. If you don't get that number one, like I told you, you gonna settle. We all do. We've been in relationships where we all have settled.
AI is coming. AI.
It's unfortunate, but we all settle, right?
AI.
So every once in a while we'll catch that shooting star, and it's like, man.
Right, Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a brother in your choir that's looking at you. Yeah, check out that brother in the choir that you don't even pay attention to. There's a brother in your choir.
I ain't about to say nothing. I ain't saying nothing, but okay.
All right. That's the wrap for POV today. This episode, What Men Think.
Right. We'll see you next week.
Gotta get the class in. All right.
Great conversation.
Ooh.